Mr. Carl, how do you feel being the sector winner for the BPO and shared services industry, and what does this mean to you and your organization?
Thanks for the question. Of course, we're very flattered to be able to win this award again. It means a lot to our organisation because I think it's a really great reflection of the effort that everybody right through AIA Shared Services has invested in ensuring that we have a really terrific environment for fresh graduates and non-graduates, non-fresh graduates as well, to come into the company. We have invested heavily to make sure that we have an environment where the best and the brightest in Malaysia want to come and work and do their best work and be their best selves and make a really big and important contribution to the AIA business imperative. We do a lot of really impactful work supporting AIA out here in Malaysia, supporting very many millions of customers in very meaningful and important ways. So we're always looking for the best and the brightest. Awards like this are, I guess, a good validation that we're on the right track. Very, very flattered and energised to really redouble our efforts and continue to work even harder in this space.
What best practices in your graduate recruitment strategy do you think were key to your victory?
Well, we've been introducing a lot of digitalisation and transformation in our process. So we have a very smooth and an integrated process in terms of how we communicate with potential candidates. We use some specific AI which assists us in improving the matching of what we're looking for versus the candidates that are out there. Of course, we're still in a somewhat COVID environment, of course, so we've had to deal with that into 2021. And in so doing, we have provided virtual tours, virtual outlines of our operations. I catch up with a cross-section of our staff every week as a coffee chat. And many of the staff that I catch up with are very new to AIA, and they're the ones invariably that want to sign up and catch up with me, as well as me catch up with them. And a great deal of them have never actually, as yet, even stepped into the office. It always really amazes me as to how many of our people have not actually been into our installation in Cyberjaya, even at this point. Handling these processes virtually and making sure that our staff get a really strong flavour for our culture, and as I mentioned before, our operating philosophy of doing the right things in the right way with the right people is very important. And these are steps that we've taken. So right through the pandemic, we basically have continued to really focus on ensuring we have a really, really great place for graduates to have a close look at in terms of building their career. But I think the thing that really makes all this come together always, of course, is the true intrinsic leadership and how we are as people. Tools are fabulous and fantastic, but it's the people that bring the heart and soul and the leadership and the camaraderie and the caring, all the things that really must come together, and the chemistry of having a fantastic organisation and welcoming fantastic candidates.
What are some challenges that your organization faced with the pandemic this year, and how did you manage to overcome them?
Well, many, as with most organizations, many challenges for us. Obviously, continuing to work remotely has meant that we have had to learn how to do things, many things virtually. In terms of our selection process, our connection with graduates and potential candidates, as I said before, we've got a really refined and enhanced process there. I think beyond that, it's been very, very important that we make sure that our staff are all in good shape. Working from home has for sure brought some conveniences to many of our staff, I know that, but it's also brought some challenges, and we see this in Malaysia, we see this around the world, that there are some challenges in terms of isolation and feeling disconnected. So we've really overcome this by, I would like to say, by reaffirming our commitment to communication and reaching out. I can't say that we reach out more to our staff because we've always had a very, very healthy and a very robust outreach program. The important thing is to make sure that we've continued that even in this virtual environment. Obviously, we've always had many fellowship and engagement activities to really remind staff that they are part of one big AIA family, and those things can be a little more challenging remotely, of course. But having said that, there's many activities that we have been able to do online. We've had several centrepiece activities which are across the whole company, and also each of the departments are really strongly encouraged to have their own customised programs. So if we can continue to understand our very important responsibility as leaders of the organisation and consider how our staff want to be treated, put ourselves in their own shoes, as it were. If we approach our jobs that way, getting beyond the operational responsibilities and getting beyond our strategic targets, which are all very important, but perhaps seeing past those sometimes, and really looking at all of this from a very human perspective, then almost always the best way forward is really, really clear, and that's what we try to do.
Any advice for students or fresh graduates that are struggling to secure an internship or a job?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, you've got to stay optimistic. Try again. The history is littered with fantastic stories of people that went on to change the world, but who faced rejection again and again. Many examples. I'd encourage all such people who are searching for a career kickstart in this environment, any environment, to really be motivated and inspired by them. You don't have to look very far to find these cases. So keep at it. I think it's very important. We continue to live in an environment which is changing very quickly. Technologies are adapting all the time. Industries and indeed players within industries are shaping the future really as we speak, basically deciding what the future will look like and therefore executing that through their own roadmap. So it's very important that everybody continues to read, stay on top of developments, not just in your chosen industry, outside of your chosen industry. Technological developments in one industry will easily jump to another. So it's important that staff and potential staff and graduates looking for a job continue to really be aware of developments and what's happening. And I think really just maintain a really inquisitive and inquiring mind, which I think feeds into the point of reading and staying on top of developments. But I think having a really inquiring mind, because that talks to technology and transformation, but it also just talks to can we slightly improve how we do things. So if staff have that approach, if fresh graduates have that approach of always inquiring, how does that work? Why is it like that? Why can't it be that way? They will make themselves very, very, very attractive candidates, and that will really influence how they carry themselves, how they do their job, and how they interact with prospective employers. In AIA, of course, what's really what's more important than everything is attitude and wanting to do things the right way, being prepared to maybe not get an immediate result, but make sure that we're doing things properly so that we can get a better outcome for all our stakeholders, our customers, over the medium, long term, if that's the best outcome. Not cutting corners, being prepared to have some patience, but make sure we get things correct. Understanding that sometimes doing things properly, really, really well, for a deep and lasting result can take some time. And making sure that where we make mistakes, and of course mistakes will always occur where there's innovation, making sure that if we fail, we fast learn and then move forward in the right direction. So I think graduates and anyone that's looking for a job, I think if they can kind of think in these terms and stay optimistic and always be bright and cheerful. Everybody wants to work with happy people. I mean that still remains the case. Personality is very important, and the ability to communicate and get along and explain yourself and bring people along with you, with your ideas. These are essential. This is what we continue to look for and what the best organisations will always want.